everyone, Kenzie with Wideners. One of the most fun action sports is the National Rifle League 22 competition, or as it's more commonly called, NRL22. The National Rifle League is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to the growth and education of long-range precision shooting. Whether this sounds fun to you or you want to dip your toe in the water before jumping into the Precision Rifle Series, NRL22 is a unique style of competition that is fun for all ages. Shooting an NRL22 competition. NRL22 matches can be run at any 100-yard range, so members can participate in local competitions to qualify for the regional and national championships. This drastically lowers the barriers to entry that a lot of ranges have for hosting Precision Rifle Series competitions. Since the majority of ranges across America don't have 1,000 yards to shoot across, NRL22 can be a way to find out if you enjoy shooting precision competitions before traveling to shoot competitions at a range that does have these long-range distances. So what is great about NRL22 is our organization provides a steel target dimension guide, a standard barricade list, and a monthly course of fire. This has everything you need to promote and run a competition. Compared to other competitions where match directors have to create and build stages, NRL22 does all of the work for you besides the physical match setup. Let's talk about the NRL22 rules. No matter what shooting competition you decide to compete in, it is your responsibility to read the rule book before going to a competition. The NRL22 Rules and Regulations document is a great place to start before heading to a match. One of the most obvious rules is that all rifles must be chambered in .22 long rifle. Magnum and like rimfire cartridges are not allowed. It is recommended that whatever rifle you choose has a removable magazine rather than a fixed tubular magazine, since it's harder to make safe. If you plan to compete in Precision Rifle Series in the future, it's a great idea to use a magnified rifle scope. I recommend one with externally adjustable turrets and reticles designed to assist in holdover and measurement so the transition is a lot easier. For NRL22 scopes, you definitely want good clarity of glass to see the smaller targets that will be at matches, but you don't need as high of a magnification level as you would with the PRS sport. A rifle scope with a magnification range of 3 to 16 or 5 to 25 is typical. First focal plane is highly recommended with adjustable turrets and ballistic reticle that allows holdovers. I personally went with the Burris 5 to 25 scope, which I think is decent at what I need it to do, but a lot of shooters will run the Vortex 3 to 18, Athlon Argos 6 to 24, or even a Nightforce 7 to 35, just to name a few. It's really about what scope works best for you, along with the reticle you feel most comfortable with. However, any scope, iron, or electronic sights may be used in NRL22. So you can join in the fun before going out and buying the most expensive guns and glass on the market. Suppressors can also be used in these competitions, which is a lot of fun. And something unique about NRL22 is competitors can compete in air rifle, young guns, even an adaptive category, or ladies class, with an air rifle, so it's pretty neat. Let's talk about the competition classes. Similar to Precision Rifle Series, NRL22 designed its classes to make it easy for newer shooters to compete without breaking the bank while also leveling the playing field. So there are 6 classes, beginning with the base class, which is more budget-friendly and a great place to start. So these classes include base, open, air rifle, ladies, young guns, and old guns or adaptive shooters. So any rifle system that comes in under a combined MSRP of $1,200 shall be eligible to compete in the base class. This combined MSRP price is for the rifle and scope only. It excludes scope rings and bases, all the bipods if you get a suppressor and all of that jazz. Open class shooters have no restrictions on the rifle. If any shooter goes over the MSRP amount of $1,200, they automatically get bumped into open class. Air rifle class is for air gunners. If the shooter chooses to use dome pellets, the air rifle must be a 30 caliber or lower. If the shooter chooses to use slugs, the air rifle must be a 25 caliber or lower, and the slugs must weigh 45 grains or less. Projectiles must be mass-produced. And the ladies class is for women shooters. There's also age-specific classes that I talked about. So a young gun, as I mentioned earlier, is defined as any shooter between the ages of 8 and 16. A parent or guardian must be present with the shooter. The young gun competitor must be able to operate their firearm safely without any hands-on assistance. Verbal coaching is allowed and encouraged for young guns. The OG or adaptive class is available to any shooter older than 60 years old or any shooter that has special needs or considerations. The match director will determine the special needs and hold a meeting with all of the adaptive participants to discuss the course of fire, and all of them must agree on the changes or scaling to accommodate this class. An example would be utilizing a bench instead of shooting prone. So what about equipment? Similar to how the world of PRS works, an NRL22 rifle is best when it's a built gun versus a factory bought one. Remember too, you need to choose to compete in base class or open class, which will also help you choose your gun and scope according to the rules. I recommend a chassis rifle, and one that is heavy, very similar to PRS, as you want the gun to rest well on props and barricades. In NRL22, you don't have to worry about recoil management, but you do want a gun that balances well and that you can attach items to. In terms of stock rifles that work well for this sport, a few that come to mind are the CZ457, the Tikka T1X, Voodoo Gunworks V22, and Bergara B14R. This is not an exhaustive list, but those are some guns that you could start with. If you want to build your own bolt action gun, for example, it's a really simple and kind of fun process. You need to pick out an action and a barrel, a trigger, and a chassis. Some companies that make chassis for the sport include Modular Driven Technologies, or MDT, which is what I use. You also have XLR chassis. And if you're into a more wooden look, Wooks makes a beautiful chassis. You also have Magpul, Manners, Boyd's, and so many more. When it comes to barrels, you have options like Voodoo or Bartline. And trigger options are endless, but just to name a few, Trigger Tech and Timney Triggers. So I invested in the MDT chassis you see here. And I actually purchased my barrel, my action, and trigger used from a friend of mine. While the barrel is a little short in terms of the aesthetics with the chassis, it works perfectly for me and was even lot tested from Voodoo Gunworks with the Lapua ammunition that I prefer to run. So speaking about ammunition, the selection is crucial in NRL22. Since competitors can't reload their own ammunition, they're definitely at the mercy of the manufacturers. There are a lot of options of 22 LR ammunition, and some are much better for precision and accuracy than others. The best and most popular 22 LR ammo used in matches are the Lapua Long Range 40 grain, the SK Match 40 grain, and the Ely Match 40 grain. The way the ammo performs is also dependent on your barrel quality and length. Your gun might group better with one specific type of ammunition. If you find that magical recipe that works well for you, I recommend sticking with the one brand and one ammo for your NRL22 competition shooting career. You can use any equipment in NRL22 unless a specific course of fire rules out using an item. The only exception is tripods are never allowed. The sharing of equipment is allowed, as well as slings to assist in unsupported positional shooting. One of the best parts about shooting NRL22 is being able to use a variety of sizes, shapes, and weights when it comes to support bags. When you attend a local competition, ask fellow competitors if you can try their bags to see what you like or don't like. It's a good idea to grow your collection of bags so you can cater to specific courses of fire. When using a bipod on stages, you may consider buying a bipod that adjusts for height. Understanding barricades. The best part of NRL22, in my opinion, is that no matter what club you shoot a match at, you know what to expect because the standard barricades are all the same. The standard barricades include any used tire 28 to 32 inches wide, a 6-foot A-frame ladder, a 5-gallon bucket or a 2-gallon bucket, 3 cylinder blocks that are 8 by 8 by 16, an open back folding chair, a 55-gallon plastic drum, any 10 feet length of rope, a sawhorse with a shelf on the bottom, a tank trap, which they actually provide construction instructions, which is helpful. So knowing what barricades you'll be shooting off of can also help you know what to practice. If shooting off a tire is difficult for you, go out and practice shooting off of a tire until it's no longer your weakness. Also, figure out what bags work best with what barricades ahead of time, so when the match time comes, you'll be prepared to get into a good position. How to shoot an NRL22 match. Depending on how far your range can shoot out to, the National Rifle League provides 2 options for courses of fire. One with shorter distances and smaller targets, and a second option for longer distances but with larger targets. The steel target dimensions range from 0.25 inches wide to 6 inches wide. While this might seem small for newer shooters, it is preparing you for shooting larger rifle targets out to 1,000 yards and beyond, which will comparatively look or seem this small at distance. Each course of fire will have a start position, including a description of the course of fire, including any notes. There's no need for a rangefinder in NRL22 as all the distances per course of fire are given to you. Some stages will require 10 rounds to be shot, while others may have you shoot 12 rounds. This could mean having to reload your rifle during a course of fire. Each course of fire will also tell you the maximum number of points that are possible, as well as how many points you can receive per impact. Courses of fire can also require weak side shooting, and we'll designate that in the instructions. Timing is everything. Each course of fire will have a set amount of time you can shoot the stage in. Most often, you'll have 120 seconds to shoot a course of fire. Depending on your level of shooting, timing out on a stage before completing all of your shots is normal for a newer shooter. It sometimes happens to even more advanced shooters. There are just so many variations of courses of fire. They really test a shooter's ability to stay calm, make accurate shots, get into a good position, and remember instructions. No matter what course of fire you are shooting, bolt-action rifles should always have the action open. Semi-automatic rifles should have the safety engaged when moving from one barricade to another. Always show clear at the end of a stage and use an empty chamber indicator or a mag block flag. One pro tip is using a weed eater plastic string as an ECI. So how to register for NRL22 matches? The best place to start is search practice score for NRL22 competitions or visit the NRL website to search for upcoming matches. You don't have to be an NRL22 member to shoot most club matches, but signing up as a member has its perks. The National Rifle League sends a swag bag to members. It also has raffles, giveaways, and provides discount codes to members from sponsors. Members can also participate in all NRL22 and NRL22X matches and be ranked and scored nationwide. NRL22 is more challenging than you think. Go into your first competition with an open mind and don't get discouraged if you time out on stages. Focus on getting into a good position and the hits will come. Once you've mastered the art of shooting NRL22, consider getting into the Precision Rifle Series. You won't look back.